Hello, everyone. My name's Anthony. I'm here with my friend John, my buddy James, and Nathan over there with the dumbfounded look on his face. This is our brand new channel where we review songs that we like, don't like, maybe like. With that being said, let's delve right into what we're going to do here.
So the first song we're going to start with is from my list. It is Hot Water Music, Drag My Body. Hot Water Music has a little special place in my heart, being they're from Gainesville, Florida, but they actually met as a band in Sarasota, Florida, which were all from the neighboring town.
I don't know what you're talking about. Don't. That's a name fact. I'm not necessarily in Sarasota, Florida.
That's not a name fact.
Ducks alert.
This is, in my opinion, probably their seminal album. This song particularly to me hits so hard, comes in real fast, is very catchy. If you listen to the lyrics, it's a little bit difficult understanding what they're talking about just on a single listen like we're looking at. If you go watch the music video, it's actually about a dad who's homeless now, trying to pay his daughter, who is a bartender. He goes into the bar regularly, slaps $20 bills down, can only buy one drink, keeps getting kicked out of the bar by her until she realizes it's her dad because he has a tattoo that was on a photo that she kept hanging behind her. The meaning on it, I'm a little indifferent. I get what they're doing. It's significant, not feeling like a human anymore because you're a homeless dude and you're trying to help your daughter and you just feel like no one appreciates you because you're the bottom of the barrel that exists. But overall, the song just slaps.
It's got that, the way you describe the song, it's got that Johnny Cash, Boy Named Sue kind of vibe to it when you're talking about, except in the Boy Named Sue, he's trying to find his dad so he could beat his ass and kill him. Whereas this is like, she doesn't realize this is his dad, or it's her dad, and
she wants to beat his ass.
Yeah.
So I got the lyrics pulled up. So I'm looking at like one of the lyrics now. I think it's pretty interesting where it says, gnashing my teeth and speaking in tongues. So anyone familiar with like biblical context or whatever, those are opposing things, you know, because like gnashing the teeth is like someone in hell, and speaking in tongues is usually like crazy,
possessive,
Pentecostal.
like possess.
Yeah, but it's usually in a like a positive light Christian context, you know.
The Beatitudes, right?
Yeah.
Come to the light.
Juxtaposition.
Juxtaposition.
Can we overput word? Say it right.
Juxtaposition.
Well, the line
Juxtaposition.
Juxtaposition.
I mean, the line before that, he talks about fighting like a demon in a shell I possess. So he definitely does go into that religious aspect.
And the other thing too, where it says, I traded 2 steps forward for 3 steps back. You have like this weekend where you get like really hammered and you're like, oh man, you know, like I got cut back, you know, and then like the next weekend comes up and you're like, it's the weekend, man. Oh, okay. I'm having a good time. I'm partying. You feel like you're going ahead a little bit, back a little bit further than where you were. And I think people that are like really like in addiction and stuff, I think that's how it goes, you know.
Like when you take that 3rd step back, it's when you start speaking in tongue. You're just being slushed at the bar.
You're that.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, there's a connection.
Once you start speaking in tongue, you know you drink too much.
You think you're drunk, but actually you're preaching the word.
It's funny you point out that verse though, because as I was listening, I was trying to parse what he's saying, and I'm like, what the hell? My head's in a critical mass, right, which is like a nuclear explosion. Fighting like a demon in a shell I possess. And then, yeah, there's the contrast you mentioned. And then there's this line, still shaking something mental. And maybe the lyrics I'm looking at, they have like a picture of Rihanna on them, so maybe they're not, you know, authoritative. But the line says, still shaking something mental at a loss of the words I'd once known.
Is there a music video to this song? Just out of curiosity, do you know that?
There
the bartender.
Yeah.
Right? Isn't it?
Yeah, it's the bartender situation.
He just told us about it.
He's trying to reconnect with his
Oh,
daughter.
that's right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I do agree with James, and this is kind of a Hot Water Music thing, is that Chuck Reagan, when he writes these lyrics, and I would assume it's mostly him, he goes pretty off the end of, I don't want to say trying to be poetic or whatever it is, but a lot of the lyrics do get nonsensical in a way. They sound good, and you could probably find a meaning in them, but yeah, I don't disagree with you, James, at all.
after the chorus, there's that pow, pow, pow. I love that. Great way to kind of end the chorus and move into the bridge, or to cut back to the verse.
You guys all know that I love the music aspect of things. Lyrics are important, obviously. Singing's important, but I'm always like music. And the first thing I wrote, what do you think the first thing I wrote down as my notes are? That bass is freaking fantastic.
It's good.
That bass is heavy. Another thing I noticed in there is that the guitar, like in the verse part, it's very simple yet effective. Very, very, very U2. It's very U2. I hear a touch of edge in that, like the way he's just like kind of plucking at like 2 or 3 different strings, just like very subtle. It's not like he's not palm muting anything. It made me think of U2. And then I immediately thought of how many packs of cigarettes that this guy probably smokes a day, the singer, because like I was like, very melodic.
Well, going back to what John was saying about the juxtaposition, right? Like that's what I wrote down. It's like the guitar is like this sweet honey for his like aching throat, because he sounds so, he's been smoking cigarettes since he came out of the womb. You know?
Yeah.
It's a very bass and vocal driven song. The drumming is right in the pocket where it needs to be. Having things stay in the pocket at times is sometimes just better than being all off. Like it wasn't like I couldn't imagine what it'd sound like if they had like the Rev or from Avenged Sevenfold or Travis Barker from Blink-182 back behind the kid. Kudos to them. They kept it simple in the drums. They kept it simple in the guitar. They let the bass and the vocals do all the work. It's a solid song. And I think it wouldn't make my top 40, but it'd definitely make a playlist, maybe 3 playlists, depending on what I'm feeling like listening to.
I want to say don't knock the drummer too much, because he is the owner of Lucy's in Gainesville, downtown Florida. So next time you go see a show there, you could go tell him his drumming is in the pocket only, and he might get
just for the song. Like I've never heard any of their other music, so
I'm just kidding.
The only thing that really stood out to me musically was like some of the off drum beats. So the drumming to me actually was the thing that musically stood out the most.
The drumming was accenting like the vocal part of the song.
Mm-hmm. But one quick point, Anthony, you said you felt like the song was driven by the singing and the bass playing. That's actually the same person. The singer is the bass player. He's writing those songs for the most part. Him and Chris Wallard. So.
Kudos to him.
I've never gotten into Hot Water music, but listening to this, like I'm gonna actually pay a little more attention to it, because it's a solid song with no gimmicks, and I really like that.
Yeah.
No gimmicks.
Not that I mean, I don't know. Did you hear a gimmick?
No, I mean no gimmicks for you. You love gimmicks.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. I usually love that kind of shit, but in this case, like, this is actually just like a solid, like a good playlist song.
I thought you were signing off on not liking gimmicks, there, buddy.
Add in the gimmicks, Chuck Reagan. Your gimmick game is weak.
We talked about that the other day, how sometimes there's albums or songs or even genres that you have to listen to sometimes a few times, and you can actually appreciate it a little bit more. And back in the day, when you left a CD that you bought because the album looked cool and you spent $15 on it, and it's in your CD player for 2 weeks, first listen, you probably would not even care for it, but because you listen to it a few times, you can appreciate it better. Now we're just like, YouTube, play this.
I think